Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Keefe, editor-in-chief of the Quintessential Gentleman, and today we are talking to a special friend, Mr. Marcellus Womack, who is the author of The Savage Matrix. What's going on, my brother?
Eric, man, it's a pleasure to be here, man, and the quintessential Matrix, man. So appreciate you, man.
Of course, of course. So you have a new book out, but what book is this? Is this three? I know I've seen you. There were two before. Is this the third one?
Yeah, this is third. So the first two I co-wrote with a great friend and a client of mine, Christopher Freeman,
Oh,
entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. It's called Dope Black Boy, the Rich Black Man, and then Run It, How to Secure the $1 Million Bag in Business, and kind of captured his journey and also gave some great gems for young black men coming up and things to avoid, how to tap into your best self. And then after that, it was okay, well, this is how you launch a business and take it to seven figures, the way that we were able to do with Chris's businesses as well. So yeah.
awesome. All right. So the third one we know is juicy. So it's called the Savage Matrix.
Savage Matrix. And this is
Savage.
the first solo book, man. So
Oh,
yeah, had to
talk to
lean
me.
in on it.
What's it about?
Yeah, so the Savage Matrix, I define it as a limitless realm to your most dominant state of being. And a savage is an undeniable force of gangster and greatness. So within this journey, because Eric, when I look at man, everybody, including you, and I want to make sure that this Savage Matrix conversation includes some greatness and savagery that you tap into for your greatness and best self. But everybody, I'll ask you, like, who's your favorite superhero or superhero?
Favorite superhero? Um, Geez, it depends. Uh, if I could say right now is gonna be Doctor Strange from Marvel's MCU.
Word. Okay. So you're quite a superhero connoisseur. So that's a very profound choice. I would conventionally it's been Superman for me.
Okay.
Black Panther rivals that a
Okay.
lot in my recent years now, but none of them compare to the superheroes that we see every day. I think many of us can look at our parents and say that. Many can look at, our inner circle of friends, colleagues, right around you. But more importantly than any of that, it's almost a mirror-like reflection when you see a superhero, um, because there's no greater superhero than the one inside of you.
Mm,
So the overall premise of this book is uh, your greatest savage, your greatest savior is your inner savage transforming in the dark.
mm,
So while you waiting on the Messiah is waiting on you.
mm.
And so there's a framework that taps into these different archetypes, and through just relationships, business, studying, reading a ton load of books. I feel like there's four archetypes to tap into your savage. You are either a hustler, a pimp, a stripper, or a pit bull. Everyone listening and watching, you're one of
Okay.
them. Eric is one of them. I've seen him in his savage form, and so, but these are absolute positive value associations. So, on the edgy creative end, yeah, take these archetypes, and you may hear hustler, stripper, pimp. He's from Chicago too, so what is he talking about? But nah,
So
it's
I was just gonna say before we get into the types, one, I always say this kind of something that you spoke about earlier is that, I think it took me a while to realize that no one's coming to save me, and especially in business, right? I think that there's a conversation where, in this idea, it's like you think you do the things and you're waiting for the people to see the things that you do to say, okay, now let's go. You at least created the things, and at some point, someone's gonna come and save you. And the reality is that you're not. You have to do everything yourself. So I love, even what you're saying, stuff being inside yourself and being able to have greatness because you're the one that's going to have to be able to make those moves in order for you to move forward, right? But even to add to that, to ask the question is before we get into the archetype, what inspired you to create these archetypes as the hustler, the pimp, the stripper, the pitbull? You live a wild life, man.
oh man. Well, I feel like my superpower is recognizing yours,
Mm,
recognizing that within others. So growing up on the south side of Chicago, just so many dynamic personalities, characters, friends, and just seeing so many people's journeys. And then, going to FAMU School of Business and being in a microcosm of like a Wakanda,
okay.
where they're incredible, brilliant, beautiful black people from everywhere and all seeking to tap into their higher self through higher education, and then transcending into business and entrepreneurship and working with brilliant minds. Many of them I celebrate and salute because they're black minds, and they have an innovation and a genius. But I see different styles, and they say even in boxing, styles make fights, and same way with life.
Mm,
So between that and I think there was one I was always interested in these personality tests, but one that I ran across and I was like, man, this is different. It's called the dark triad, and it breaks down. You do a test to see if you're either more Machiavellian, a
mm.
psychopath, or the other one was Machiavellian, psychopath, or narcissist. And I
Okay.
was like, damn. But there was some self-reflective things to get from that. So I think subconsciously that inspired me. And I'm always in the frameworks and doing that for clients and people that I work closely with. So yeah, this Savage Matrix was just a natural evolution, of a ideal framework that I thought people could tap into the higher self.
So let's go ahead and break down these archetypes, right? What identifies as the hustler?
So
And
they're
I'm
all
doing it before I tell everybody which one I am. So he's gonna break it down, and then we can talk about which one I am, right?
for
And I
sure.
guess before we even get into it, how would you how would you like people to figure out what they are, right? Because you also have there's a website where there's a test that you can fill out and you can determine which one you are. Is it read what they all are, then take the test, or take the test and then go read about
Nah, we in a short format age. With all the content you create for the Quintessential Gentleman, people got 3 seconds. You got to hook them or they out. So
them?
jump to the savagematrix.com. It's a
Okay.
test that takes less than 2 minutes. The first question will rock your side, rock you, and you'll be into that. And there's no way that you will not want to read the book and discover even more of who you are, but also who you work, people around you, what we're seeing in society, and how all of that, equates into tapping into this limitless realm to your most dominant state of being. So, yeah, take the test. It's
Okay.
free.
Per-
It's on the website, thesavagematrix.com. And once you're in there, you're in the matrix. Enjoy.
Perfect.
May the
Okay.
odds be forever in your favor.
So talk to me. What identifies as the hustler?
So each of the archetypes are centered around what goal are you most wired to pursuing.
Okay.
So the hustler, the ultimate goal is money.
Okay.
And their breakdown, their main role is conducting business. Their superpower is deal making. And so if you're ever around, people are already probably thinking and saying, I'm around, my homeboy Chris, and every time we talk, he's thinking of an idea, monetizing, already saying, well, man, this how much what would be the low cost supplier to jump into that. They monetize everything. Oh, okay, well, they on TikTok. How much they making? That's a hustler. They're wired around that. And many things that we do in life, you need money. A lot of times we spend our days, earning it. So yeah, that's the hustler.
Okay. Now going to the pimp. I'm nervous.
And once again, this construct is an absolute positive value. So people remember,
Okay.
like in fourth and fifth grade, you have to put a number in a bracket, and it would always be positive. So if it's 100, it's going to be positive 100. If it's negative 100, it's positive 100. So this is actually tapping to the higher vibrational state, even within the realm that we operate in this world. So, and then there are acronyms for each. So the hustler's acronym is a hardworking, unstoppable, strategic tycoon, lucratively enterprising ROI.
Okay.
Pimp acronym is a power innovator, no, a pioneering innovator, masterminding power.
Okay.
So
Remember to
Now
put
take
the periods. I'm gonna put the periods next to when they go.
sure, for sure. And visually, you could take that pimp hat off. You could take that green and yellow suit off, and get into tap into something different. And their main goal is power.
Mm,
So that's where your leaders emerge, and the main resource they require is human talent. So they understand people, emotion, and how to leverage other people's talents. Even in system, I use the acronym for that, a lot of times with businesses, save yourself time, energy, money. So that's tapping into other resources. And their superpower is selling fantasies. So they're like, why people don't care about reality when the fantasy is more entertaining. So they know how to create these universes, but there's a higher vibration in that. And our greatest leaders are able to see this promised land and galvanize people around a movement, and tap into the best in others to build. So, like the African proverb, if you want to go, fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So, yeah, that's that pimp energy.
and then now we on the stripper.
Yes. So that's the one that is, man, I have to be so careful, man. I know that's the one that could get me in trouble. I'm like, man, I know brothers is not out here trying to be called that, and a lot of sisters too, but we all got a magnetic stripper inside of us. The acronym to make this make sense so you can embrace it, especially for those where this may be your archetype, is supernatural, talented rock star inspiring peak performances, elevating reality. These are your rock stars. Their main goal is status and superstardom. I want to be number one. I want to show up, shut it down, be the best, do my thing, exit left, and put that on repeat, So, and their main superpower is ability to captivating audiences.
Mm,
So the resource they need is a big stage, a big platform. They're like, is the exposure gonna be there? Is the stage gonna is it gonna be worthwhile for me to show my number one talent? Because I'm number one. That's what I'm shooting for. Number two does not exist. That's the energy there. So think of it if stripper is too dicey, and only when you go to Atlanta, people's bachelor parties, on certain weekends, are you embracing that superstar? Like that's the superstar energy there as well. So
awesome. And the last one, Pitbull, which when I took the test, it said that I was. So let's go. Let me hear this one. I'm nervous now for real, for real.
nah, Pitbull. So that is the archetype, the savage that is most wired to results.
Mm,
So that stands for persevering. It's a persevering, intense, tough-minded, brave heart, uh, unleashing limitless light force. So this is that dog. When they see the Eric Thomas, he talking about, I get that dog in you, that beast mode. That is what that is. Their main resource that they require is they need, hey, I'm executing a mission. Yeah, money's cool, power's cool, status. I need to get to the results. Just show me. Navy SEALs are who I compare to the Pitbull because they don't really, it's not a lofty dream of, oh, we're going on this dream. It's like, no, what's the target?
yeah.
I got what I got. I need to get from point A to point B and neutralize it. What is that? As long as you give me my target and a clear shot, I'm good. So the superpower for pit bulls is supreme focus.
Mm,
And if there's someone and you're like, wow, why won't they let up? Why are they still working and it's 2 a.m.? Why? And man, you are a pit bull. I just want to share, if I can give me like a minute or two, man, just my experience and journey of seeing you and your savage evolution, man. So, man, working with client Chris, the one I did the book with, he had, a hair company that was popping, beautiful hair for you. And he was expanding to Atlanta. He was already in Jacksonville, expanding in various different markets. And I reached out to someone in Atlanta. I was like, hey, I need to get with top notch, sales rep, at a station, hottest station, in Atlanta because I need to get it popping there. She was like, say less. She got me your info, reached out to you. You made things happen, man. You are probably one of the best, man, media, representatives, man, and just overall just professionals I've ever worked with. So I was like, man, this is flowing, this is popping, this is everything. And then one time I reached out after we were doing a lot, and I was like, man, need some more spots, man. Let's get it. He was like, bro, this might be the last run because I'm gonna launch, man, my own magazine. I'm like, word, awesome. Fast forward, I am with a client corporation that is the number one entertainment, is the biggest entertainment company in the world. Most of the cable stations that you watch, they own a lot of them. A lot of the artists that you hear, they're signed to a label, they're signed to a label under them, and a huge media conglomerate. And same with movies. So I'm in a meeting, doing PR work, partner with an agency, and they're saying that, hey, there's a up and I'm like, they're saying we got to get a placement. And I'm like, who are they gonna send me to? Is it they want Forbes, but they want, Essence, they want a Hollywood Reporter, and they were like, there's this up and coming media outlet. We don't know how to get in contact with them. We're just saying we got to get our stories about some of our multicultural, movies that we're releasing. We need to get that out, and we need to feature, some of our C-suite execs as well, and people working, within the space. And I'm like, okay, you all can't reach them. Y'all got publicist teams and everything. Like, man, what's happening? And they were like, we're not getting, responses back. We need to land them. I'm like, all right, well, what? I need to put the Superman cape on and go where? Yeah, I gotta get on a plane and talk to who? And they said the Quintessential Gentleman, and I almost had to put my Zoom on pause, man, to just a camera off, just to chuckle and be like, because I'm like, man, my man Eric, he found it. That's the dude. So it was one like, oh, this is, I think there should be a layup. I should be able to get there and bam with no problem. But beyond that, it was like, bro, the biggest media conglomerate in the world,
Shit.
and of all the different media outlets in the world, they were like, this is the one that we want. That's how valuable you are. And I'm sure, in the mix of your journey, man, even to this day, they are just, man, obstacles to overcome left and right, but to have that greatness within you, that's that savage energy, that pit bull. Because they saw articles coming out left and right. They saw exclusive in a level of journaling and journalism and storytelling that they were like, we got to be a part of this new wave. And it was already done. That's probably one of my main things I share in the book. Is whatever your moonshot is, the grandest version of your greatest vision with no limits, it's already done. And you had already been doing that. You had already been creating a high level of value, servicing, your people and your culture, and you just 1,000x that. And that's how life works when we're in spaces, and it's like, bam, it's already done. I already know Eric.
Yeah.
He already got the plug. He was my plug, man. So man, that's how life is. It's always gonna work out, and whatever you need is already within you.
Love that. I love that. And thank you for the kind words, man. Respect. So question for you, is it possible for you to have traits kind of in all these different categories?
Absolutely. We all do. And the power of this framework is one, understanding who you are
Mhm.
from this lens, but then two, who else do you need to evolve in to being everything you know yourself being destined to be? So, and it can be interchangeable. So you can be a pit bull and you're all about results, you're grinding, but you're like, you know what, in this season of my life, I gotta hit this money figure. And that's where you gotta tap into your hustler. You may look at it and be like, man, you know what? I'm in a situation and I need to start calling people, sending emails, and getting the exact response that I need. I need people to understand, who I am. I need to be in certain positions I'm not being invited to. Um, that is power game of the pimp, and that's putting on that hat per se. Maybe, you know what? I've been helping, so many others. I've been looking at, all of the superstars, but I'm a superstar. I got this talent. I I need quintessential gentleman, to be able to capture, my story, or I need to be on this stage. I need to star in this movie. I need to release this album. I need to put this book out. I need to launch this business and be on the cover of it, for seasons like Oprah, So yeah, that energy there. And then Pitbull, I think most things start and end. Majority of people fall into the category of Pitbull. And I
Mm,
think that we're not only are we kind of programmed for that, where the world wants us to kind of work hard, but you have to, like you said, nobody's coming to save you. So you got to tap into that. So everybody, I think in the beginning of their journey, somewhere, and definitely in the end, to get your breakthroughs, you got to tap into a relentless mindset. And the polarizing point of view, that I, normally share around that is no warning, no remorse.
mm,
It ain't no choice. You know what you got to do. Do it.
yeah.
One shot, one kill. Get it.
That's it. As they're hearing all of kind of the descriptions of it, to me, this is like this is how you build a team. This is the Avengers, right? So when you think about because superhero, let's go back to our superhero, right? And you think about building a team, you think about all these forces, right? Hustler, you need somebody that's sales, that's going to take care, make sure we get in the bag, make sure we get in the money. Pimp, you got somebody, maybe the leader. That's all right. Let's figure out the talent wise, where we gonna, who's gonna get the talent, how we gonna get them going. Using the different people, right? And you have stripper. Stripper to me is like, okay, who's the star? Who's gonna be that brand ambassador? Who's the face of the company? Who's making sure that we look good and it presents who this person is? Then you got the pit bull. All right, we're your strategists. How are we moving? How and like to me, it's like, oh, this is the team you need to form. Now, I don't think you should be calling your team members hustling pimps and strippers, but having that ideology, it seems very reminiscent of entrepreneurs and these businesses. And because I think a lot of conversations, um, for me in this space, and that my history, it's I'm already in the industry. I'm already doing what I'm doing. I don't need help getting here. What I'm talking about is how do I sustain? How do I scale? How do I move? How do I build a team? And I think those are now the conversations that we don't have enough of. It's either you already did it and you're talking about it and now you're able to, educate other people, or you're at the bottom where you're just trying to get in. But that middle lane, it feel like it's a conversation that we need to have more of, and there's more expertise that need to be spilled. And I feel like there's more people in the middle than there is kind of on these two edges.
Man, Eric, that brilliant breakdown that you gave accelerated you through the Savage Matrix journey. You jumped through the first 8 chapters and got right to what is the optimization of all of these archetypes, and that is what's talked about in the Savage Matrix, the Kingpin.
Okay.
So that's the one who, on an individual level, has achieved some level of mastery, and
Hmm.
now is building, like you said, scaling on a whole other level.
Hmm.
Because you've learned the ability of manifestation and making things happen. But now it's how can I leverage that on another level? So you just spoke the words of a kingpin. So salute, kingpin. Because that is a phenomenal breakdown of teams that are required, and you can take that. That's business wise, but then you do this specifically for the culture, for the community. So when we look at things that we want, things that we've been fighting for centuries, decades, and as a fight, that mindset, and it really requires how can I create a unity on another level? Because that's the hardest part as a leader. Everybody's kind of got an individual approach, but how can you set a promised land vision that maximize everybody's talent? Where they say, you know what, that is where we need to be. And I think it falls within, I think the pimp, in terms of the leadership qualities of that, falls in that ascension of that kingpin, but you do have to tap into, all the different ones there. But the key, even in that space, is being able to one, because I break down different qualities and creeds and commandments that are needed. That one most necessary is, can I delegate a dream?
Hmm.
Everybody has a dream. This whole Savage Matrix is about What's the one thing, if you had all the power in the world, what's the one thing you would do? Bam, that's the start of your journey. And oftentimes people are feeling like, well, that don't align with mine. We can see the talent and we can see, this is someone I need on my team. But I think as a culture, we got to find out within our own entities, but even outside of that, because another polarizing kind of point of view is, or a creed to, this power archetype is own nothing, control everything. And that
Mm,
may sound kind of savagery, but on a unified level, it's I don't have to own these different things, but I do need to have a place, a position of, influence. And if we're able to do that, then I think as a culture, we're able to rise and connect. But that is the hardest thing is leadership. That's at the top of the Maslow hierarchy, self-actualization, um, being able to scale that. But we built for it, and you're already doing it.
yeah.
I see, man, you have an amazing following in a very short period of time just on social media. That's a tribe. They need you. We need you every day. I'm a part of that tribe, and so the different roles that we play within that. But can you delegate the dream? Teams do that really well. Like the one who wins the championship, whoever wins it for March Madness and the NBA, they're the one that was able to say, I don't care if you're the superstar or if you're the 15th person, if you're, the GM or if you're just, scouting and getting tape, like everybody's being a part of this. Everybody on this team is getting a ring. Everybody on this team that's on this court is getting their name on a banner.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan's his name on the banner is no bigger than the 15th man or Randy Brown or whoever else is playing with him. So I think that's the greatest skill set today. You can delegate the dream, but now we built for it. We were born off of it.
What advice would you give to people to unlock their true potential?
I would share this analogy that I share in a book, um, and I'll use you for an example. But people watching can think of themselves. Let's say we're at one of your, big time events, man. You got all types of A-listers around. It's a swim pool, out there, and it's vibe. You find this, threads, man, because your fashion game is second to none. And some sort of way, man, your head catches on fire.
Mm,
Like, is there anything that would stop you from jumping almost head first into that pool? Nah. And everybody watching would be like, nah, I'm getting in that pool. Like, I got to get that fire out.
yeah, right.
Same thing as it relates to our dream. If
Mm,
your dream was on fire, um, if your dream was on fire, you would tap inside of yourself, inside of your spirit, and put it out into the world. So it's only a question of if, in this positive outlook of it, is my dream on fire? I think Don King said, if you set yourself on fire, the world will come to see you burn. When you
mm,
reach a certain vibration, and I'm sure you see it, when you have a story or you have a cover or you have someone in mind, and you like, I don't see next 3 months, I gotta have them.
right.
They got one of the hottest movies out, or something that I know is going to resonate. And it's no longer doubting. It's no longer I had ask somebody to do it. I'm getting it done, and you're no longer operating from a mission statement of I wish, I plan, I aspire. I like to create for my clients a driven statement. This is what I must do, and that's a vibration. I'm on fire. So it's I'm gonna make it happen. And when you get into that mode, there's nothing that you do. You go from the impossible to the inevitable. And I would just share, tap into sources, and no, we shouldn't just be in a mode of man. I gotta. There's some maintenance that is good to let me check the podcast. Let me read another book on manifestation. Do that
Mm,
for maintenance. 'Cause we got to do things like brush our teeth for maintenance. Daily. But make a decision and say never again. Never
mm,
again am I going to be in that situation. Never again am I going to feel weak. Never again am I going to be lacking. Never again, beyond that, never again am I not going to try. I promise you this, I'm going to go after it. And when you do that, set yourself on fire, prepare yourself, and go get it.
mm. Awesome. My last question is just tell me, what do you want people to take away from the Savage Matrix?
Great question. There's a success formula that Jack Canfield has in his book Success Principles, and it's event equals response. Yeah, well, event plus response equals outcome. So we all want a certain outcome. It's money, or we want, our movement to be, popping and have a certain level of influence, or, we want to become number one at something, or we just need to make something happen. And there's an uncontrollable always, it's the event. It's a circumstance and certain things that may happen. But your response is what dictates whether it's a positive outcome or not. And you don't have control of what happens to you. You have control of how you respond. And one concept that I share within the book is the rubber band effect. And it kind of builds off of there was a book I was inspired by, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And it's, you know, the impediment to, action advances that. And whatever stands in the way is the way. So this rubber band effect I'll just leave you with is, if you think of a rubber band, if I'm holding it and if I barely pull it back, it's not gonna go far. It's barely gonna touch you. It's no threat at all. If I'm yanking that thing all the way back, like I was as a 12-year-old, creating chaos in my classrooms, popping them at friends, like now that's gonna be some trouble when I let it go. And the same in life. Everybody who's watching this, everybody has something that they're going through just as much as we're superheroes, and in 5 minutes you can unpack how great the potential of greatness that someone has in them, you can also tap into the trauma.
Mm.
If one can, and we all have things that we have gone through in life and are going through to this day. And so when you look at those setbacks, and it can be, I gotta something happened with my car, or they're doing layoffs at my job, or I'm pulling it back more because I started a business and it's not going the way I wanted it to. I got conflicts going on in my personal life. I don't like what I'm seeing in this country. I'm having to think about living somewhere else I've never been. you know Pulling I may have gotten a medical diagnosis that's changing my entire life. Pull that thing all the way back, and we look at it like, you're taking me so far from my goal, or where my destination, where I want to be. You're pulling me backwards. But the rubber band effect is, the further you get pulled back,
Mm.
the harder you snap back.
Right.
So the further you pull me back, and you can't break down what can't be broken. So that rubber band doesn't break. And if you are watching this today, you gone undefeated every day of your life and not being broken and being able to rise back. So you're not broken. So you are the breakthrough. Once that season, lets go, and you go, pulling you back that far, the further you get pulled back, let it pull you back all the way back to kingdom come if they want. Let go. The farther you go, the faster you get there, and the harder you hit upon impact.
Yeah.
So if you really want that destination, that ultimate dream, embrace life pulling you back and be able to look at that and say, this is phenomenal. This is making me stronger. I can steal good fortune from bad fortune, because what doesn't matter is the obstacle. It's the opportunity that I see in it. So I'm getting stronger. I'm able to go further. I'm able to go faster, and I'm able to hit with way more accuracy. And that's the ultimate necessity to reaching that dream anyway. So embrace it. And you have that positive mindset. And this is a word that I made up. It's not mind, M-I-N-D. It's M-I-N-E. That means it's mine and it's already done before I even do it.
Mm. Love that. Love that. All right, everybody. Make sure you first go to thesavagematrix.com and take the test. Take the test, take the test. Then purchase the book. Purchase the book. Purchase the book and read about it, and definitely get some information. I'm definitely going to go purchase the book, make sure I look at it, make sure I take a read of it because I'm very intrigued by it. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much, Marcellus, for bringing us in on this, and just excited for everything you got going on, and love to continue to support, man.
I appreciate you, Eric, man. Quintessential Gentleman audience. Appreciate you all. And y'all are looking at Eric, the Savage Matrix Pitbull. He is a Pitbull that has ascended to kingpin status as well. So salute, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.